Let's begin with the Shema. I don't even know what page the Shema is.
Oh, I should look it up. I don't know.
Looks like maybe 149.
There you go. Thank you, Kathy. We're going to go ahead just take a second to 149 is the beginning of the Shema or blessings. We're going to go ahead, and since this is a super abbreviated service, we're going to go straight into the Shema, which starts on 155. And we say El Melech Ne'eman, and we cover our eyes and we say Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
So we can keep them on the TV later on, but
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלבטך ועזרך ושוכבך ובקומך וכתבתם לעוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפו בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Let me continue reading individually. Vayom Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael v'amarta alehem, v'asu lahem tzitzit al kanfei bigdehem ledorotam, v'natnu al tzitzit hakanfa pitel v'techelet, v'haya lachem letzitzit. Uraitem oto, uzachartem et kol mitzvot Adonai, va'asitem otam, velo taturu acharei levavchem acharei nechem, asher atem zonim achareihem, leman tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai. Mitzvotai, v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lehiyot lachem le'Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. And we continue with the Amida, the silent Amida, on page 159. Now is the time to take 4 minutes, and we will actually, let me view how many how many people do we have? We have,
Well, she's not.
is your, okay, she's not. All right, so we'll take 4 minutes and we'll do the silent Amida. This is just time to center yourself in your prayers, say the words on the page, or the prayer in your heart, and remember we're after Pesach, so we say Morid Hatal. Okay, so we'll be back at 9:41. Oh, say shalom bimrama. Yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, imru, amen. 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 If you're still praying, continue to do so. This week we're the rest of us are going to continue with the Mourner's Kaddish on page 207. This week, remember Catherine Hannon, Fanny Ackerman Kilberg, Isaac Alkadev, Mary Comras Berman, Leon J. Hassan, Sarah Emanuel, Arnold Fast, is Judy Mayer, F. Ray Sharker, Sam Norman Shinbaum, Perry Mendel, Samuel Zacuto, Cindy Cohen, Claire Evans, Jacob Horn, Helene Leibovich, Ida Seagal Rosenblum, Gerald Kilbert, A. Schreiber, Albert Capuana,
Capuana.
Capuana, and Sadie Rebecca Klein. And Marcia, I know that did you want to just say the name of the person or anything about them?
Oh, I would, but I'll start crying. But my brother's Arnold Fast. Yes. If I start talking about him, Susan or Harvey up here, they may. I don't know. My brother and my sister.
I'll just say he was wonderful. He was the best big brother ever. And really great person.
Sweetheart.
Loved by everybody.
If you have a name of somebody you want to say Kaddish for, you can write it in the chat.
Oh, what's chat?
Oh, that's lovely. Okay, and we're going to say the Kaddish. I'm also be saying for Ken Moskowitz. Okay, so we're gonna say, so Albert, I'm sorry about your brother. Because your tum is on page 207. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabah
Amen.
v'yama divra chirute v'yamlich machute v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chaye d'chol beit Israel ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam ulamei amaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit raman v'yit naseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brechu.
Amen.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shlam rabba min shemayach. V'chayin aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru.
Amen.
Amen.
May those who create peace on high bring peace to us and to all of Israel. And we say,
Amen.
Thank you.
well, thank you for joining us today. Certainly everybody is welcome to stay. I certainly don't. So anyway, so this concludes our mini prayer service. Thank you for being 10 people so we could say Mourner's Kaddish. That's really important. So yes, thank you. And if you want to dedicate this day of learning to your brother, that is something that is traditionally done. Okay, so we're gonna start. We've been up until now, we've been learning. I'm just gonna fold my tallis here. So thank you, Marcia, and everybody for coming. Up until now, we've been learning about the prayers, and so we're kind of done with that. So now we're gonna move on to a little bit. Today, this is when the Omer, and the Omer is typically it's a 7-week period between Passover and Shavuot, where we work on our midot, we work on our characteristics, our personal characteristics. And so it's a lot of times you'll study Hasidic teachings or, it's called the Musar movement, ethical, the ethical part. And so I chose for us to start reading Martin Buber. So he's pretty cool. He came from a family of observant Jews, broke with Jewish custom to pursue secular studies in philosophy. But he is a big time Zionist. He was born in 1978 in Austria. He goes through the Nazis. He leaves when Hitler gets to power. Actually, and he goes to Israel. He becomes a very big Zionist. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature 10 times and the Nobel Peace Prize 7 times. So this is quite a intellectual. He was very respected internationally. We can talk more about him later, but I just want you to sort of get a taste of
What year did you say he was born?
1878. Forgive me,
I was going
1878.
to say 1978. That didn't really
Oh,
jive.
sorry. 1878.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, just to give you an idea of yeah. Interesting life. And so I want to start this by just like a framing question. I don't know. So to think for a minute or two about the times when you felt most connected to God, or connected to yourself or connected to others. But do you guys know what I mean by that feeling of connection? Like a feeling of not being alone, of being connected. Make a list of at least 1 or 2 of these times. We don't have a whole bunch, and explain where you were physically. Were you in the forest? Are you at home? Were you in the synagogue? What you were doing? Were you praying? Were you reading a good book? Were you hiking? Were you talking to a friend? Were you sitting, and who are you with? Were you with your dog? Were you with your your husband, your spouse? Were you with your community, family? So yeah, so just take a moment or take a minute. And if you want to write it down, that's fine. Think about a moment of real connection to God. I mean, ideally to God, but if not God, then to another person also counts, because as we're going to read, we're going to connected to God or connected to another person where you felt that feeling of shleimut, where you were, what you were doing, and who you're with. Okay, so does everyone have their moments of connection?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, so the way we're going to do this, and I'm going to ask for feedback after, because this is new, but the way he does it is he tells a Hasidic story. He's very much from the Hasidic thought, and then he explains it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Did you guys, well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I emailed this before, but just in case, anyone, how do I share? All right, are you guys all seeing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he gives a little Hasidic story, and then he talks about it. So I'll read the Hasidic tale. Rabbi Beir Radishevich inquired of his teacher, the seer of Lublin. Okay, so who's the seer of Lublin? Does anyone know?
I don't.
No. Okay. So he is a Hasidic Rebbe from, I'm going to make sure I look at these dates, 1745 to 1815. He's from Poland. I think he's from Southwest Poland. Wrong. He was part of the early Hasidic movement. He was known as a seer because he could gaze long ways by supernatural means. He was a disciple of the Maggid, which we'll go into that later. So that was his thing. He was a rabbi in Poland, in the early 1800s, late 1700s. And he was a leader of the Hasidic movement. Okay. So somebody goes to him and asks, "Show me the customer way to the service of God." And so the tzaddik answered, the seer of Lublin answers, "There's no such thing as telling a person which way to go. God may be served by way of study, by way of prayer, or by way of fasting, or by way of eating. Every person should pay heed to the way to which their heart is drawn, that they may devote all their strength to follow that chosen way." So, right. So for us, Jewish law is called halacha, like the way, the walking. That's how you serve God. And this is kind of a radical notion. Like, you don't serve God by being kosher. You don't serve God by being Shabbat. You don't serve God by praying. You don't serve God by, all these things. He's saying everybody has their own way to serve God. It's pretty radical, no?
Oh.
It sounds good to me.
Hmm.
Okay. So, okay, so yeah. Okay, so does someone want to start reading? And I'm going to stop you on page 10. But Marcia, are you able to see it?
Yeah, all right. So we
Okay.
again to begin.
Yeah.
To begin with, this tale tells us something about our relationship to true service rendered by others before our time. We may honor that service, we may learn from it, but we should not copy it. All the great and sacred acts that were previously performed certainly may serve as examples, illustrating what greatness and sacredness can be, but they should not be seen as patterns for duplication. Our deeds, even if minimal compared to the deeds of our ancestors, have value in that we have performed them in our own manner with our own strength. A Hasid once asked the Maggid of Zlatkov, it was written, if everyone in Israel is required to say, when will my work approach the deeds of my ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? How am I to understand this? How can we presume to think our deeds could equal the deeds of our ancestors? The Maggid explained, the patriarchs provided a new service, each one according to his individual nature, the one with love, the other with power, the third with splendor. In the same way, every one of us, each in our own fashion, should create something that is new in light of Jewish teaching and service. Let us not do what has been done already. Rather, let us do what is yet to be done. Every individual in Israel is obligated to know and to contemplate that their nature is unique in the world, and that none other in the world has ever been identical to them. Had there been someone exactly like them before, there would have been no need for their existence. Every individual is a new entity in the world and must strive to perfect their individual nature in this world. Indeed, the coming of the Messiah is delayed because this ideal has not yet been realized. With every person, something new is placed into the world, something that has never existed before, something that is original and unique.
Okay, so I'm going to stop there because that is really cool. That is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So two things. Well, a couple of things I want to point out. One is this idea of like they're saying like, up to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, everybody's been saying like, oh, why aren't I as good as my parents? Why aren't I as religious as the generations that became before? Like that's a very normal thing to say. And he's saying everybody says it, and that's not the point. That's not why we're here. Which is great. And he's saying that our point is to go forward, to carry it forward, to be to contemplate the fact that you are unique in this world, and that and that if you weren't, there would be no need for you, but there is a need for you, and that's why you exist, which I think is great. Also, they say like this idea of the coming of the Messiah is delayed because this ideal has not yet been realized. I do want to take us with a grain of salt. Like if you read like I read a lot of Hasidic literature because like I'm kind of into that. But when you read Hasidic literature, that's sort of something that they say is when they want to like really emphasize it. Like they say the Messiah isn't here because people haven't done this, And I think, I don't think we should take that literally. Well, I mean, maybe we can take it literally, but like it's just something that they say like the Messiah is not coming here because people aren't doing this. So Messiah, that's his way of putting a big pound and hammering that in, that nail in. That's just a literature thing.
Oh, okay.
Do we have questions or comments or concerns up to here? Yes, Batya?
It hit me in that what this is saying is that creation is continuing and that we are each a part of the continuation of creation. Because if we're all new, then we haven't been created yet. And what we're bringing into the world hasn't been created yet. And so it's a continuation of creation of the world and creativity.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, cool. All right, Marcia, do you want to keep reading?
Sure.
I'm going to stop you again in a little bit.
Every one of us has been given the task to develop and realize our individual and unique nature. We're not meant to repeat what another, no matter how great, has already accomplished. The wise Rabbi Bunham, advanced in years and already blind, once remarked, I would not want to change places with Father Abraham. What would it profit God if the patriarch Abraham turned into the blind Bunham, and the blind Bunham became Abraham? And the same was said with greater emphasis by Rabbi Zushia shortly before his death. In the world to come, I will not be asked, why were you not Moses? Instead, I will be asked, why were you not Zushia?
Right. So Rabbi Zusha is early Hasidic luminary, and he says on his deathbed, it's a famous story. His students found him in uncontrollable tears. They tried to comfort him, but tell him that he was as wise as Moses and as kind as Abraham. And so he was going to be judged positively in heaven. And Zusha replied, when I pass from this world and appear before the heavenly tribunal, they won't ask me, Zusha, why weren't you as wise as Moses or as kind as Abraham? Rather, they will ask me, Zusha, why weren't you Zusha? Why didn't I fulfill my potential? Why didn't I follow the path that could have been mine? So that's okay. All right, keep going. You're doing great. Okay.
Continue.
Yeah.
Here we have a doctrine based on the fact that humans, by their nature, are diverse and differ from one another. Accordingly, it teaches that people must not be regarded as all alike.
Okay, I'm going to stop okay, there you go.
Every person has access to God, but for each person, the way is different. It is precisely in the diversity of human beings and in the diversity of their nature and their individual inclinations that we find the great potential for human species. The university of God is manifest in the infinite variety of ways that lead to God, all of which are open to everyone. Many years ago, when several students of a deceased Tzaddik came to study with the seer of Lublin, they were surprised to see that his customs differed from those of their former teacher. The seer explained, what sort of God would have only one way in which to be served? Furthermore, in the same way that every person is able to come to God from an individual and unique starting point, so too humanity as a whole has the ability to reach God in diverse ways. God does not.
Okay, so yeah. So what are they saying there? As a little recap, there are different ways. There are wrong ways, but there's a multitude of right ways to reach God. Okay.
God does not say, this is the way to me, but that other is not. God does say, whatever you do can be the way to me, provided the way leads you to me. But individuals must discover for themselves the specifics of what they can and should do. To reiterate, one can go wrong only by paying attention to how far another has come and then attempting to imitate the other. This limitation will prevent one from following one's own unique calling. The Baal Shem Tov says, everyone should conduct oneself according to one's own rung on the ladder of life. Otherwise, one who grasps for one's neighbor's rung and lets go of one's will realize one's own potential, nor the others. Accordingly, our recognition of our own being, our recognition of our essential nature and personal inclinations is the only guide to finding our individual way to God. Again, from the Baal Shem Tov, there is something precious in every individual that is not present in any other. We can discover what that precious thing is only when we become truly aware of our strongest feeling, our primal longing that motivates our inner being.
All right, so what he's saying is that was that thing I tried to identify. Asked you to identify at the beginning was, when did you feel connection? That's one of your longings. Okay.
Of course, we are often aware of our strongest longing only in the form of consuming passion, in the form of the evil inclination that seeks to tempt us. Regrettably, it's natural for humans to gratify their own passionate cravings with the first satisfying things that they may encounter. Whether our search leads to the desired result depends entirely on our ability to direct the strength of that very longing, that very drive, away from the random toward the necessary, from the relative to the absolute. Using this ability, we may find our unique way. The Tzaddik teacher, the book of Ecclesiastes, concludes with, at the end of the matter, when everything has been heard, is revere God, Whenever you reach the end of any matter, here at its end, you discern only this: revere God. This one idea is the whole. Nothing exists in the world that does not show some way to the reverence of God and to the service of God. Everything is commandment. However, in no way could it truly be our task in the world in which we have been placed to turn away completely from things and living things we encounter and to whom our hearts are drawn. On the contrary, let us sanctify our relationship to those encounters and to what they reveal to us in beauty and comfort and in pleasure. Hasidim teaches that finding joy with the world leads to joy with God, as long as we sanctify the joyousness with our whole being.
Okay, so it's important to notice, like, you have to have a joy with a purpose. So you can't just like going to strip clubs. Like, that's not going to lead you to God. You like, you do those activities in furtherance of creating a family and within the bonds of matrimony, and that creates, the joy of God. So he is putting that little caveat of like, it has to be within this sort of structure of longing for God. Okay. Okay. All right, keep going.
In our original tale, the seer of Lublin gave both eating and fasting as examples of service toward God, seemingly contradicting the Hasidic teaching that joyousness alone fills the world and leads to God. However, if we view the totality of Hasidic teaching, we see that it encompasses not only the notion of joyousness, but also that distancing oneself, even total self-abnegation from nature. Such self-isolation may be necessary for some people to find the beginning of the way or to negotiate a difficult byway, but it does not govern the entire path. Some people must begin with fasting and perhaps repeat their fasting because their unique character requires liberation from enslaving worldly demands. Abstention may be needed to experience profound self-awareness and to find connection to the absolute. But this is asceticism must
Good
not
job.
must not gain control over their entire lives. People should distance themselves from nature only so that they may return to nature renewed and find the way to God through sacred encounter. The biblical verse that tells about Abraham hosting the three divine messengers says, "And as he stood over them under the tree, they ate." Rabbi Zusha interpreted this to mean that humans stand above divine messengers because humans know the sacred intention of eating that is unknown to divine beings. Abraham bestowed the sacred intention of eating upon the divine messengers who were unaccustomed to eating. Every natural action, if sanctified, leads to God. Nature needs the existence of humans to accomplish what divine beings cannot accomplish, namely that it may become sanctified. Interesting.
Yeah, so that's a lot. That's a lot to chew on.
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's first, say in our own words what he's saying, and then we'll have some questions and break out and discuss it, like, how we do this to our lives.
Well, I was just thinking just then, like even like, so we have prayers, commandments, but it takes human beings to put all that into play. It's there, but it has to be implemented, in a good way.
In a good way. That's a very important caveat. Yes, in a good way. Like, anything you do has to be done with intention. And they're saying, like, as long as you have that like intention of wanting to serve God, you're gonna be good. Like, you will be good. It's a radical idea. And I don't think that Hasidism is not like, Hasidism definitely like does embrace the law, but they do it in a much different, like in a sort of fundamentally different way. Like, it's not that the law is not important to Hasidism. It is. It's very important, but it's said in a little bit of a different way.
It's real interesting, and it's sort of simplistic, but makes sense.
Yeah.
There seemed to be a lot of joy in that. commentary, I guess you might call it,
Mhm.
which is very important.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. I hate going to places of religion and seeing everyone depressed. Like, I mean, sometimes, like we just passed Holocaust Memorial Day, so sometimes it's warranted, but we gotta remember the good times too.
Mhm.
So okay, so let me um okay, so let's see. It is natural and human to impulse. I'm doing the lesson plan. I downloaded a lesson plan from here. It is natural and human impulse to judge our own life accomplishments against other individuals' lives accomplishment. But Buber cautions against that impulse, comparing yourself to somebody else. In what ways do you compare yourself to others? How would your life change if you stopped comparing?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes
What?
some other people's lives may be an inspiration to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching a lot of the Pope, like some of the Pope funeral this morning, and that was definitely an inspiration.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's not so much comparing yourself to the way others do, but um, just thinking about doing the same good job that they did, maybe in a different way. But thinking about that person, like, it's so stupid. But when I do these flower arrangements, I think about people that have done that I know that do really, really great flower arrangements. I don't want to compare myself to them, but I think about how they would have done it.
But
And kind
Barbara,
of,
yours are unique and beautiful.
yeah, and it's okay, but I think about, well, how would they have done this?
Mhm.
Anyway, it's good thoughts. It's not, they're not
Yeah, if it's making you
jealous thoughts.
joyful, yeah, if it's making you
Yeah,
joyful, that's
yeah. It's
great.
like I think about them doing arrangements, and yes, it brings me joy.
Yeah. And I would say that is your prayer also. Like that is your unique prayer that like I can't do, but that's your unique, those flower arrangements are your unique prayer to the service.
Mine is the way I look at my art. And a lot of times, especially lately with what's going on in the world, I'm just like, why bother? There's so much art in the world already. It's not whether mine is better or worse, it's just more. And what does that matter right now? So I kind of pull back from it because to me, it seems not to matter. But I'm not doing anything else that matters either. So this is reminding me that it isn't about where it stands in relation to anything else. It's that it's an expression of who I am and just putting that into the world and that energy into the world, as opposed to trying to see where else it fits.
Excellent.
So yeah, thank you today for this. This is great.
Oh, oh, I'm
This
so glad.
really, really, really shifting me over a space or two from where I've been kind of sitting.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm so glad. So glad. So glad. Okay, great. So yeah, okay, great. So wonderful. Great. So yeah, so that is something definitely take home. Don't like if you're comparing yourself to someone and it's making you miserable, just stop doing that. Like if I think of my cousins that have like who are super successful and have plenty of perfect kids and happy marriages, I just stop doing that because the truth is I don't know whether I don't know if it's such a perfect marriage. I don't know if their kids are so perfect. I don't know if they're so
Believe me,
successful.
it's not, Rabbi. It never is. It never is what you think.
Yeah, so it's better just don't even look at their rung. Just focus on my own rung in life and focus on that. Okay, so I'm gonna try something new. We have a new person with us, which is great. Diane, if you want to, and Cantor, if you can unmute yourself. All right, before I do that, are you guys able to unmute Cantor and Diane?
Yeah.
You're still with us?
Oops.
Okay. So, all right. So the last thing is we're going to go back to that. Remember that first question? Your feeling of connectedness.
Mm.
So, Martin Buber has like seminal work is I and Thou. Yeah, like that feeling of connection, having that connection every day. So did you guys all have your moment of connection?
Uh,
I
All right,
did.
so I'm going to break you into two groups.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, cool.
What?
I couldn't get my.
Okay, yeah. I'm crazy, and I'm going to put the chat answer in the question in the chat. Hold on a second. The question's going to be, imagine what your life would feel like if you could experience the feeling of connection every day. And then, is there a way to adapt these times from your life and transform them into something you can experience every day? For example, if you felt deeply connected to God when you completed a hike and saw a beautiful vista from a high summit, perhaps you can post a picture of that vista by your work computer as a reminder of that connection. What daily touchstones can you bring into your life to remind you to pay heed to the way your heart is drawn? So, or to remind you of God. So I'm going to put that into the chat, and then I'm going to break you into, well, no, first I'll break you into groups, and you guys can introduce yourselves and share your moments of connection if you want to. You can always pass, and then you can say, and you can think about how to bring that God experience into your daily life. Okay? All right. So like breakout rooms. Great, two. Um, okay, so okay. Okay, so this is just gonna do it man, it just as randomly, so apologies. But be nice to each other. That's part of the point of the whole thing. Okay, if you see, yeah, invite, yeah. If you see something, go to your breakout room. Larry?
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Who are you?
Hi, I live in Winmore. I saw your thing, so I just signed on.
Oh, well, I'm so glad you're here. We're about 5 minutes away to the end. So we're in a breakout room. If I sign you to the breakout room, you're probably going to be a little bit confused. So I'm not going to do that. But I'm so glad you're here. Well, hopefully you'll come in the 2 weeks when we have this again. But if you want to stay till the end, you're welcome to. So hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I set my watch for it, but it never went off. I wanted to see it from the beginning, from the prayer service, but I must have. I guess I missed all of it.
No, you missed. Well, yeah, you missed most of it. But
What
that's
are you
okay.
doing it again?
In 2 weeks, I'm in Montgomery for 2 weeks, and then we have in-person classes, and then the 2 weeks that I'm here, I do online classes, and I'll always post. Now that the broadcast, know how to do this, I'll post it in the Win More thing.
Okay, great. So I'll come back in 2 weeks.
Okay, if you want to, why don't you give us your email, and we'll put you on the email list so you'll know.
Sure, why not? YR. You got that?
Why?
YRLAR at AOL.com.
It's a YRLAR at AOL.com.
Correct.
Okay, cool. I'll put you on the synagogue mailing list. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Take care now.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Uh, Hi, Marcia.
There.
No, we're not. Well, I mean, we're kind of are done. I just wanted to like see how it was going and have a final check-in. I'm gonna turn off the live streaming.